I never thought I'd see the day when grown adults dressed up like fake cops would march onto my property, shove papers in my face, and then one of them, yes, one of those so-called HOA cops, had the nerve to slap my wife across the face. I swear, the world went silent for a split second. Karen, the self-proclaimed queen of the neighborhood, was screeching from the sidewalk, waving her clipboard like it was the law of the land. My wife stumbled back, holding her cheek, tears in her eyes, and in that instant, something inside me snapped. See, I'm not just some quiet guy who lives by the woods. I'm a retired Navy SEAL. And when I tell you the next few minutes looked like a war zone, believe me, those fake cops had no idea who they were messing with. Life was supposed to be peaceful when we moved into the little cabin just off the edge of Pinewood Estates. My wife and I wanted quiet mornings, coffee on the porch, the sound of the forest instead of traffic. We were just outside the HOA-controlled neighborhood, and I thought that meant their ridiculous rules couldn't touch us. But in this town, peace never lasts. Not when Karen is in charge. Karen was the self-appointed queen bee of Pinewood, tight bun, pastel sweaters, and a voice that could cut glass. She had two loyal sidekicks, Greg, a wannabe tough guy with a beer belly that stuck out farther than his ego should have allowed, and Linda, the neighborhood gossip who always seemed to know everyone's business, even the things you didn't know about yourself. The first time Karen came stomping up my gravel driveway, she acted like she owned the place. Clipboard in hand, she barked, "You can't keep that shed here. It violates community aesthetics." I laughed, thinking it was some kind of joke. "Karen, this isn't your neighborhood. My cabin is outside the HOA lines. Your rules don't apply here." Her eyes narrowed like I'd just cursed at her. "Everything around Pinewood affects property value, and property value is my jurisdiction." That word jurisdiction stuck with me. I knew then this wasn't going to be the last time we clashed. A few days later, Greg accidentally parked his truck at the edge of my driveway. When I asked him to move it, he smirked and said, "Karen says this is HOA property." "You might want to check your maps again, pal." Linda wasn't far behind. She cornered my wife at the market and whispered, "You should just follow the rules." Karen always wins in the end. By the time I got home that evening, my wife was shaken. Clutching a paper shoved into her hands an HOA fine, claiming we owed $500 for unauthorized landscaping. "They can't do this, right?" she asked. I took the paper, ripped it in half, and tossed it in the fire pit. They can't touch us. But as the flames ate that letter, I couldn't shake the feeling in my gut. Because Karen wasn't the kind of woman to back off. No, this was just her opening move, and I had no idea how far she'd go to make us bend. I should have known better. Karen wasn't satisfied with one skirmish. No, she wanted war. The next week, I came home to find yellow papers plastered across my fence posts like warning signs, each one stamped with HOA violation. They accused us of everything from improper grass length to noise pollution because I used a chainsaw to cut firewood. I stormed over to Pinewood the next morning, papers in hand. Karen stood at the cul-de-sac like she was queen of the suburbs. Greg leaned on his truck, arms folded, while Linda peered out from behind her blinds. "Cut the crap, Karen," I said, shoving the stack toward her. "You have no authority here." Her smirk was ice cold. "Authority is what people believe in, and everyone here believes in me," Greg chimed in, puffing his chest. "Best to just pay the fines, bud. Keep the peace." "Peace?" I snapped. "You park on my land, harass my wife, and now you're sending fake fines? That's not peace. That's extortion." Karen's smile never faltered. "Call it what you want. But the longer you resist, the harder this gets. Imagine whispers spreading about you, police being called for disturbances. Reputation is fragile." Her words echoed like a threat, and over the next few days they made good on it. Rumors spread that I was violent, unstable, that I scared children. Strangers I barely knew looked at me like I was the villain. One night, as I sat by the fire with my wife, she broke down. "Why us? We just wanted to live quietly. Why can't she leave us alone?" I pulled her close, but inside, anger burned hotter than the flames. Because bullies never stop until someone makes them. The breaking point came one Saturday morning. A white SUV rolled up, lights flashing, not police, but some ridiculous HOA security unit with decals that looked homemade. Two men in fake uniforms stepped out, radios crackling with static. "This is official HOA business," one barked. "You need to comply with citations or face escalation." I laughed in disbelief. "Escalation? You clowns aren't even real cops." Karen appeared behind them, arms crossed. "Respect authority or suffer consequences." That's when one of the fake cops shoved past me, right up to my wife, and God help him, he slapped her across the face. Time froze. My wife stumbled, hand on her cheek, tears welling up. Karen gasped dramatically like she was the victim. And in that moment, the SEAL in me woke up. My training, my instincts, everything I'd kept buried came roaring back. Those men had crossed a line they couldn't uncross. I don't remember deciding to act. My body just moved. The first fake cop swung at me, sloppy and wide. I sidestepped, caught his wrist and twisted until he dropped like a sack of bricks. The second lunged, but years of hand-to-hand training aren't something you forget. 2 moves later, he was on the ground, groaning, clutching his ribs. Karen screamed from the sidewalk. "You're assaulting officers!" I turned, fury boiling in my veins. "Officers? These are thugs in costumes." She tried to rally Greg and Linda, but for once, neither moved. Greg's tough guy act evaporated when he saw the scene. Linda shrank back into her doorway. I helped my wife to her feet, brushing her hair back gently. Her cheek was red, swollen. "I'm okay," she whispered, but I could see the pain in her eyes. "No," I said, my voice low but steady. "You're not. And neither is this neighborhood." The next day, I dug through county records. Turns out, my property line extended farther than the HOA claimed, right into Pinewood's main road. They'd been trespassing for months, enforcing rules on land they didn't even own. I called a meeting, uninvited. Karen was there, smug as ever, clipboard in hand. "You have no right to." I slammed the documents on the table. "I own this road. Every car, every footstep on it, it's mine. You've been trespassing. You've been breaking my rules." The room fell silent. Greg's jaw dropped. Linda muttered something about always knowing this would happen. Karen's face went pale. She tried to bluster. You can't just—" "I can," I cut her off. "And if you think slapping my wife and sending fake cops was bad, wait until the sheriff sees the evidence. Fraud, harassment, assault. How do you think that'll look in court?" Her bravado cracked. For the first time, Karen didn't have a comeback. But as I looked around the room at the nervous faces of the neighbors, I realized something. Defeating Karen wasn't the end. Power vacuums don't stay empty for long. Someone else would try to fill it. Back at the cabin, I held my wife close. She smiled weakly, whispering, "Maybe it's finally over." I stared out at the trees, the shadows between them shifting in the wind. "Maybe," I said, but in my gut, I knew this was only round 1. Because in neighborhoods like Pinewood, the fight never really ends. So what would you have done if fake HOA cops laid hands on your family? Have you ever dealt with a Karen who thought she ran the world? And do you think I should take Karen to court? Or let the neighbors handle her downfall themselves?